Hey guys, Squatcher Loading. In this video we're going to keep moving forward in our 223 series here on our Redding T7. In this video we are going to cover a little bit more of the case prep aspect. We're going to do the trimming for the overall length of the case prior to inserting the bullet and powder and all that good stuff. We're also going to condition the primer pockets. We're going to take out some of those mill crimps that sometimes you find in 223 and 556. Most of your NATO spec ammunition is going to have some kind of crimp, whether it's like the full diameter crimp or the 4 stakes that you see on some of it. The methods, I'm going to show you a couple methods that will take care of it, and then we're going to go ahead and get these finished up and ready to load. So let's get started. Okay guys, so the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm going to get all of these cases trimmed down to the proper length. I'm going to shoot for 1.75, and again, opinions vary on that. A lot of guys like to go shorter. A lot of guys don't even trim them. But we're going to trim them all down to 1.75 inches. So to confirm that, we're going to need a set of calipers. And again, you guys, calipers, if it's vernier calipers, dial calipers, digital, Harbor Freight, Mitchell Toil, it doesn't matter. Just get you a good set of calipers. The best that you can afford is the advice I always give. But don't get hung up on the name brands and all that. We're dealing with a thousands variation here. So the next thing we're going to use, and how I'm going to trim these cases, I'm going to use a World's Finest trimmer from Little Crow Gun Works, and the information should be on there. You guys can see that. Possibly pause the video if you're interested in it. But this one is caliber specific, and it's for the 223 Remington. And the way this works is it locates itself off of the shoulder of the cartridge. So that's why I was getting a little bit OCD on making sure that I had a consistent size on all these, because this tool locates off the shoulder. A lot of your lathe style and things like that will locate towards the base of the cartridge. So there's again a bunch of different ways you guys can trim this, and you just need to understand what the principles are of each method that you're using, so you can better understand what you need to do to control consistency. So this is what we're going to use for trimming our cartridges, and then we're going to put it in a drill here. I have a battery operated drill, so we're going to work through these, and then we're going to double check the links and see where we're at. Alright guys, so we have our World's Finest trimmer mocked up here in our drill, and we want to make sure that it's going the direction that you'd be tightening fasteners, so righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. That's the way we want to go. So I usually keep this on the low speed setting. It doesn't really matter, but I just think it's easier for me to use this way. So what we're going to do is take a case, insert it in slowly as we're rotating it. I'm going to set these aside. And another good rule of thumb is to keep, a container underneath here to catch the shavings, but you guys can see that, it puts a real nice machine finish there on the case mouth. And it's actually got like a carbide end mill tool in there that's doing the cutting. So it works very well. And so we're just going to keep moving through these. I'm going to do a quick measurement with my calipers. See where we're at. And remember, we're looking for like 175. So these are all, 1.746 and a half. So that's good enough for me. And so I'm going to finish these up, and then we'll talk about chamfer and deburr. Alright guys, so we have everything trimmed to length. So now we're going to talk about chamfer and deburr. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do this, and then my favorite way. The first thing we got here is a chamfer and deburr tool, and this will come with most of your master kits you buy from Lee, RCBS, Hornady, wherever. Typically this will come with it. If not, probably should go pick yourself up one, because they're very handy to kind of dress up things here and there when you need a little bit more finesse with your hands. But basically it works like this. We have an ID chamfer and an OD chamfer, and these are set at about, I think, anywhere 40, 45 degrees, somewhere in there. So it's very simple. I'll get up close. We're going to insert the ID in and just give it a couple twists like so, and then the same for the OD. And what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to create a lead-in angle for the projectile that we're about to seat in these cases. And the better the lead-in angle, the better the concentricity of the bullet is as it sets down into the case mouth. And from the OD side, all we're wanting to do is take off that burr that we put on there when we trimmed with our end mill there. So it's basically just to clean up everything. The other method that we have that I like, I have a hand turret here from Little Crow Gun Works, and the tooling on this is what we call VLD tooling, and it basically stands for maybe very low drag, something like that. But the premise of this is it's a 22-degree angle, so it's going to give you more of a pronounced lead-in edge, and the thought behind it is that it will increase your bullet concentricity when seating the bullet. And so it works very similar to the hand tool that I just used, except we're just going to rotate around for the ID and then for the OD. And these tools work great if you're doing small batches, and if I'm doing hunting rounds or precision rounds where I'm doing a box of 20, this is typically my go-to. We're going to do a little bit more today, so I'm going to basically take these tools out and stick them in my drill. Now, these are very common tools with all your case prep centers and things like that. So if you got one of those, look at these tooling. I think they may be alignment, I'm not sure, but VLD tooling, all this has the same thread pitch that'll fit in your case prep centers as well. Now, there's other options, automated options to do this. A lot of guys really like the case prep centers, and I'm on the fence. I'm starting to do enough 223 plinking style ammo now that my methods are a little bit slow, but the principles of what I'm showing you is all the same for what you guys need to be doing. So let's get these tools out here, and then I'm going to get them in the drill and get these done up for you. Okay guys, same principles before. I've got my ID chamfer tool here chucked up in my drill. I'm going in the righty-tighty fashion. So basically, to get my chamfer where I want it, I'm just going to apply slight pressure and just give it a quick burst, because 7 to 10 revolutions is all you really need to get a good clean chamfer. So here we go. Let me get it up here where y'all can see it. See, it's got a nice ID chamfer there, and that's what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these finished up here, and then we're going to go into the OD, and it's going to be the same method. Alright guys, so we got our OD chamfer tool here chucked up in our drill, and the same method. We're going to give it a burst like that. 7 to 10 rotations is really all it takes. So we're going to insert the cartridge inside the tool like so, and then now the key is make sure you keep a good firm grip on this, because it sometimes will catch and it'll spin around your fingers, and you don't want to do that. But that's all we're doing, getting it in the tool, holding it firm, and a good burst. And just applying slight pressure is all you need. You guys can see here we got a very nice OD chamfer and ID chamfer in these. So I'm going to finish these up, and then we're going to move on to primer pockets. Alright, so we're going to talk about crimped primer pockets. Now, this is what makes reloading mil-spec cartridges like your 308s, your 223, 5.56 so frustrating, is that a lot of the ammo manufacturers will crimp or stake the primers in place, and that makes it difficult for us reloaders to just move along and just slap another primer in there and call it good. A lot of the cheaper ammunition that you're going to find, or the bulk ammo, is all going to be crimped, or if it's mil-spec ammunition, it's going to be crimped. So we've got to find a way to work around that, and there is a ton of different ways that this can be done. Whether it's, for example, using a swaging tool that will essentially spread the material out at the base of the primer pocket. Dylan makes like a super swager. RCBS makes a pocket swager. There's tons of different products out there, and that will basically just spread or open up the primer pocket so that a primer can be installed or reinstalled back into the cartridge. Now, another method you can use is cutting out the crimps, and there's plenty of crimp cutting tools. A lot of your just your primer pocket reamers will go ahead and cut out the crimp. So it boils down to which is your preferred method. And for me, when I'm looking at mil-spec cartridges like 223 and 308, I want to keep my cost down as much as I can, because in the past it's been one of those break-even points when you're reloading, say 223. Is it cheaper to buy it or cheaper to reload it? And you can go a million different directions on that. But in this day and age, with ammo prices the way they are, reloading 223 it makes sense to me, anyways. And so I want to limit my investment into the process, because I'm not making ultra precision rounds in 223 or 308. So I just want to bulk reload it and have it for plinking and so on. So the method that I use is just cutting it out. And there's a couple different ways I've done this, but probably my favorite way is, since I've already have the VLD ID chamfer tool, is I will go ahead and cut it out with this. And it's kind of a neat feature, and there's several guys that do this, and I've picked it up within the last couple years. But this VLD tool, actually, the profile of it, it'll insert bottom out on the where the flash hole is, and it'll only cut out the crimp portion of the cartridge and also clean up your flash hole. So this is the method I use, so I'm going to show you guys how that is. And again, it's my method, and it's worked very well. So I'm not here to say this is the best way or the way you should do it. I'm just presenting a way that I do it, and if you want to invest in swagers or spend the time swaging on this kind of stuff, it's entirely up to you. But for this series, this is how we're going to do it. So let's show you guys how that works. Okay guys, so here we go. I got my VLD ID chamfer tool chucked up in my drill. And one cool thing about this, with the way this angle is in the flat base, is it's going to bottom out here on your primer pocket, and it's only going to cut if there's a crimp in there. So here we go. It's just very simple. We're going to stick it in like so, and let me get the burrs out. So that primer pocket's pretty good, and it also just kind of cleaned up around the flash hole. So instead of sorting through all these, we're just going to hit them all like so. Yep. Looks good. Oops. And that's going to take care of our crimped primer pockets. And we only got to do it one time. So I'm going to finish these up, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up for today. Okay, so now that we have all of our primer pockets cleaned out, the cartridges are basically ready to start loading. So what I like to do is, I don't typically run these a lot on my progressives. I'll either run them on my turret or whatever. We'll probably get into a load series doing 223 on the XL750 in the future, but for right now, there's a couple different ways we can put our primers in. We can use a hand tool like this one here from RCBS, or we can just put them in right on the press. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get these primers put in with our RCBS hand tool. And if you guys are curious about these, check them out over on rcbs.com, or there's plenty of YouTube videos on how to set these up and use them. But essentially, we just got to make sure it's set up for small primers, and we have the appropriate shell holder in place here. So we're going to go ahead and get these primers installed, and then we're about ready to start loading. Alright guys, so we're just going to put our primers in, again with our hand tool. So we just want to make sure we get those nice and centered up in our shell holder, and then with light pressure, install a primer. And you're going to get a feel for this the more you do it. So you'll recognize if there's any issues. But the main thing we're wanting to make sure is that our primers are sitting sub-flush here, so there's none protruding out, so we don't risk any bump fires or anything like that. But yeah, we're just going to work through these. And I'm going to get these finished up, and then we're going to move on. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. What we did get accomplished is we got our cases all trimmed, our cartridges trimmed to the length that we were looking for. We got our inside and outside diameter chamfering done with our VLD chamfering tools. We got rid of those pesky mil-spec primer pockets. Again, we got that done with our VLD chamfering tool, our ID tool, and we got some primers put in. So these are coming along very nice. If you guys have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop those below or hit me up with an email at squatchreloading@gmail.com. You can find me over on Facebook and Instagram at squatchreloading as well. Here in the next couple weeks, you'll be able to find me on Friday nights over at the Georgia Shooting Connection on their Friday night live stream at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So search that up. If you have anything you want to talk about in the side chat, I'd be more than happy to do so as well. But if you like what you see, please like, subscribe to the channel, or go over to the Reloaders Network where all these videos are as well. So until next time, guys, God bless.